Hello and welcome to the Vintage and Classic Metalwork channel, and on this video I'm going to show you how to turn a G-clamp into an English wheel. Sounds a bit odd, but trust me, stay with me and I'll show you how to do this. So this is my sacrificial G-clamp, a nice old record G-clamp, so it's well made, sturdy frame, and if you actually think about it, the shape of it isn't too dissimilar. So you've got a strong frame, and now we've got the mechanicals with a thread that goes up through, like your adjuster on there. So all we really need to do is adapt the top and the bottom, make some little wheels, whether you use a ball bearing or a bit of round bar. And I'm going to fabricate all this together, and by the end of it, hopefully I've got a little working English wheel that I can put in my vise, and hopefully wheel up a couple of little panels. And for a beginner out there, hopefully this is a good little tool to save you going and spending hundreds on a machine or even thousands, when if you only need like a little patch on your arch, this is basically made out of scrap. So hopefully it's a win-win and a cool little tool to have in the workshop. Right, stay tuned and fingers crossed it works. So there we have it. This is the scrap I've gathered from around the workshop. This little bar here with a thread through it. I'm going to use that section there as my top wheel. I'm then going to chop this down, and these are going to be my dies. This bit of bigger box section is going to attach onto here and become part of the frame. And then this is going to weld onto the threaded section and go up and down. And then that's going to keep that in a straight line and stop it moving, hopefully. And then with the flat plate there, I'm going to make the cradles, which are going to hold the wheels and the top wheel in place. So that's my plan. There I've got probably a couple of quid's worth of scrap, so hopefully we can keep the cost of this down, and it's just going to take a little bit of time, and hopefully we've got a working tool at the end of it. Okay, so I've got my top anvil cut to size, and I've made two little anvils there with the scrap I had. This is my idea for the cradle. I'm going to make it out of 3 bits and then weld it all together, just in case you haven't got a folder, just so I can show you how to do that. I'm going to drill a hole in my anvils there, and then I'm going to locate it using a bolt when I come to fixing it. I'm not going to go too fancy, because I could leave a shoulder on here and have this open-ended so it drops in and out. But if you've got a lathe at home, then that's great. If not, I think just using a bolt to locate isn't too much of an issue, and pretty simple thing to do. Right, I'll crack on and do that bit now. Okay, so that's that one cut out. I'm happy with the shape. Just offering it up like so. Looks pretty good. And then just going over here, you get a rough idea of how it's going to fit. I'm going to make another 3 of them, drill the holes, get the base plates cut, and then weld it together. Then that'll be the yoke complete. The yoke is the traditional term for this. You can also call it a cradle, like I did earlier in the video. I'm going to use this one as my pattern, so they're all the same. I haven't got any engineer's blue with me, so I just use the Sharpie roughly where I'm going to mark them, and then the block behind so it rests up tight, and then just going to scribe it out. Going over a few times just to make it clear, and there you go, I've got my line, as you can see there. So I've clamped them all together like so, just so I can run the grinder over them, and they're all a very similar shape. What I'm now going to do is just stick a tack of weld along the bottom, and that's going to help me for when I drill the hole through all 4 of them. I need that hole to be in line. I know it's a hand tool, and we will have like a a bit of discrepancy, but if we can get it as level as possible, that'll help the anvil sit better, so it won't be exaggerated like that, like at an angle. So if we can eliminate some of these flaws and make it as accurate as possible, we will get a better result in the end. Okay, what I'm going to try and do now is add a little bit of shape to this bottom anvil. I'm going to run the grinder over the top and hopefully that'll spin as I do it, and then that'll put a consistent shape on it, like a nice even radius, and then I'll DA it and polish it up a little bit so it's a nice anvil to use. So now what I'm doing is offering up the anvils to see what sort of space that gives me, and ideally what I'd like is enough to drop this down so when you put a panel in, if it's got a little lip on it, it'll clear. So if I drop that down like so, then I've got that much adjustment. So I'm going to say about there. and that's going to be part of my frame, and then this part here is going to attach to the thread, attach to that, and come up and down inside there. So now I've cut that piece there, what I'm going to do is just line that up. I'm going to eyeball it, roughly get that in the center, and I'm just going to put a TIG weld around the bottom to hold that in place. So the next step in the process is to weld that box section in the middle of that cradle, and then I can then line up my top wheel like so, and I've got my adjustment in there, and I think when that's painted up, that's going to look pretty cool. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just offer the wheels up and get a tack in place, and then make the final adjustments before I fully weld it in. As you can see in this clip, I've welded a plate to the bottom of the G-clamp so you can tightly secure it in the vise. Okay, so that's painted up and looks pretty cool. Very happy with how it's turned out so far. Now, it may look okay. Now, it's no good if it doesn't work. So I've got some 20 gauge steel and some 16 gauge aluminium. These are going to be my test pieces. I'm now going to put these through and see if it works. Fingers crossed, otherwise it was a waste of time. So a few days after, I was making a valance on a lance here that had a bit of a rust issue, and I'd just been using a planishing hammer on this section here, and as it had the lip turned up there, I couldn't get right into the end. So I thought this was a great opportunity to use this little English wheel to smooth out that area and raise it a little bit. And I think, as you can see by this section here, I've done a pretty good job. So all in all, I've used it on a real life job, and yeah, the outcome is very good. Okay, a brief summary of what we've basically got. I think it's quite successful, turning a G-clamp into an English wheel. Bit of a gamble at the beginning, I didn't know how this was going to turn out. I had a rough idea and I just sort of winged it as I went along. Naturally, there are things, looking at it now and using it, I think, okay, yeah, I would change that. You know, I'd like to change the bottom yoke slightly. Wish I'd done my wheels slightly bigger and so forth. You know, but these things can be improved. And if you've seen things that you would like to change, you can do that on your one. You know, just the way it fixes in. You know, I have just put a bolt through there and tapped it there. You may think of a quicker way of releasing that. But as a, I don't know, trial piece, I think I can call that a success. As you can see on the 1.5 aluminium, shaped up really nicely, and that's only with a little bit of shape in the bottom anvil. So if you do one with a lot more curvature radius in that bottom anvil, it will shape a lot more quickly. And the steel, naturally that would be tougher, but again, I class that as a success. Very happy with how it's turned out. So all in all, for a couple of hours work, I think I've got myself a nice little bench English wheel, which I'm proud of, and it's a little idea to save you a few quid if you need to shape up a panel, or just give it a go. You know, it's something fun, something to keep, and cool little project. So hope you've liked it. Let me know if you've made one, or if you're going to make one. I'd love to sort of see pictures and so forth if you want to email them across. And yeah, stay tuned. Hopefully we've got more ideas. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and see you again in the next video. Ciao.